What challenges have you faced as a group home? Any unique challenges?
Security challenges, definitely many. When we talk about the houses we live in, it's a little different. Fire hazard for sure is the biggest one, and that's why we decided to invest in this security feature. Another one is the people who will be housed in this are people in recovery. They are learning how to live like a community. They are learning how to have a routine, do the household chores, not to relapse. With all those things in mind, security becomes all the more critical.
Thank you for coming in to talk with me today. And so why don't we start with telling us about, who you are and who you represent?
Yes, so I'm Angelica Sharma, and I'm the founder of Tara Homes Foundation. This is a very close project to my heart. So I always used to have vision where I'll have two seasons in my career, one related to my self-growth, and another will be the season of giving. And after like 29 years of corporate experience, it was a matter of time where I just got a call. Now is the time to pivot to another chapter of your career. And that's when I decided almost 18 months back to resign from my corporate job and start my own nonprofit foundation. And that was the genesis of Tara Homes Foundation. And Tara Homes Foundation was born in a strong belief that everyone deserves a safe, stable housing where they can focus on their recovery. And seeing the gap, housing gap for people in recovery, further inspired me that I need to create a home where there's a dignity, there's a respect, compassion, which gives people like living together in a community, a place where they feel safe, where they can focus on rebuilding their future. And that's what our mission is as well.
That's great. And is that funded by the state or is it funded by donations? How is that handled?
Yeah, so it's a private foundation, and it's privately owned by a family because it's my family who started it. My husband who supported me in that. He's a co-starter. So right now, since as I told you, it's like 18 months in existence. Most of the time we spent in getting it off the ground and creating a brand, finding a proper house. So funding is mostly self-funded right now, but then we are also tapping into donations, crowdfunding. We did one event last Thanksgiving season, and then a lot of good support we got from the corporate gift match programs. So where the corporations have their employee gift match program. So many corporations like Travelers Insurance, which was my last employment, and then the Hartford Financial Services, which was my previous employment. Since I had some connections there and I could put a word to them. And then we had Raytheon and Liberty Mutual. So some of the corporations who helped through the corporate gift match program. So
That's great.
they're planning to tap into grants year two, because normally it takes time when you start getting the funding from the state or federal or the local foundations.
Nice. And what type of recovery are you focusing on? Is it any type of recovery? Is it, domestic abuse or drugs? Like what type of recovery?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question, because most of the times we use the term recovery very generic, right? Recovery can be for anyone, even for me, recovering from some illness or some mental stress, right? So that's why we wanted to keep the term very generic recovery. So the first house that we are opening in East Hartford, which that is for the recovery of people who are trying to reclaim their lives from substance use disorder and mental health issues. So that's a recovery from substance abuse disorder and mental health challenges. So that's the first house. And then in future, it will be recovering from domestic violence, the victims from domestic violence. That will be our goal to provide them safe housing, or it can be justice involved people who are incarcerated, very stigmatized, right? Veterans. So those populations where they are dealing with the housing insecurities and are looking for a safe haven to focus on their
Definitely.
future.
Very nice. And what inspired you to do it? And, what brought you to wanting to start something like this?
Yeah, I know. As I was telling you, that was my vision. Like everybody needs to have a vision. Rest of the people do have vision, and which was always the case. So that's where Dana Homes Foundation came into existence. But then the cause. What cause is? I think that's what you're trying to
Exactly.
So what should be the cause associated with this foundation? So that was more of a self-exploration. Like it took me 1 year where I was researching a lot into there's so many social problems, plethora of problems. And you cannot put your hand on everything. You have to start from somewhere. So when I was feeling kind of lost, looking into what should be the cause I should associate Tara Homes with, so it was housing, and that's where the name Tara Homes. And then it was like, who should be the target community to start with? So people with housing insecurities, but definitely people recovering from substance use disorder. Because when I was looking at numbers, I checked the numbers comparing like with the national average for people in drug addiction, especially the opioid crisis. And Connecticut, to my surprise, the Connecticut average was higher than the national average. So that's why I said we can start from here itself, and let's do the housing for people in recovery.
What prompted the need for a fire alarm system from us?
Yeah, so that's definitely a very important question, right? So when we were getting our house ready in East Hartford, so safety of our residents is our number one priority, and one of the biggest hazard is a hazard. So our goal was to work with the local authorities, which is a fire marshal of the town, and find out what are the needs for the fire alarm system. Because that was a new thing for us to start a sober house. So when we started working with our fire marshal, which was definitely intent was to be very collaborative, we are finding the requirements. So finally, they recommended that the kind of fire alarm system that we will need for the sober house should comply with NFPA 72. I don't know if I'm saying it right. It's a
That's right.
National Fire Protection Act.
NFPA 72.
Right? So that's a code compliance thing. And we knew that we need a professional company who is experienced in doing a fire alarm system complying with the codes that the fire marshal is recommending. And even coming to the requirement, it was little back and forth with our fire marshal because the clarity in the requirements for the sober houses is not there yet. And I know we all are learning. And intent was the same, whether it was our fire marshal or us, that the safety of the residents should be our number one priority. So that's where we engaged Mammoth Security System, and they helped. And when I say they helped, I just definitely want to call out the names. Jocelyn, who was our big partner in the whole journey, helping us clarifying the requirements, being the moderator between me and the fire marshal, and coming up with the design that was fulfilling the needs and expectations of our fire marshal. So that is how we came up with the whole requirement and the need and the engagement with the Mammoth Security System.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I know that it was, we always look at our team as they're the backbone, right? We're only as good as our team. So, even when it comes from administrative to the guys installing in the field to the transfer from the office to the field, that's the most important, that transition. And that sounds like a big part of that was where Jocelyn excelled.
I should say that. I think Jocelyn, and I shouldn't forget another name. I was just thinking as I was talking, Diego.
Diego, yep.
Did I say right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So because the whole installation was divided into two phases, one was pre-work, preparing the house. Second was the installation after the house is ready. And Jocelyn was the link, like she was constantly in touch with me and the fire marshal. So Diego did the pre-work, and he was very responsive, very nice to work with. And he took the ownership, and that I saw in your entire team, where I said I cannot come in the evening to close the house. He said, don't worry, I got the house. I'll make sure the house is safe and secured before I leave. And I also told him that the house, we just remodeled the house. And I know if you have to do the wiring for the fire alarm system, it might be invasive to the house. It might need you to cut or break open the walls. So do the minimal needed and make sure it is left neat and clean. And he did his best to do that. So it was the least invasive.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And what challenges have you faced as a group home? Any unique challenges that you faced in security when you're going through all of these exercises on how to secure this home?
Security challenges you're talking, or generally the challenge?
In general, just security challenges, things that you might have been thinking about in regards to the security of it.
Yeah, so security challenges definitely many uh, compared to a standard residential house. And I say many, it's not to sound alarming, but when we talk about the houses we live in, it's a little different than that. But at the same time, it is supposed to be closest to that because we are providing a residence, a feeling like home. So fire hazard for sure is the biggest one, and that's why we decided to invest in this security feature. The another one is the people who will be housed in this are people in recovery. They're still in recovery, and they are learning their basic living skills. They are learning how to live like a community. They are learning how to have a routine, do the household chores, not to relapse, right? With all those things in mind, security becomes all the more critical till they are ready to have an independent living. Relapse is another challenge. And so they can relapse, right? So we are trying to keep them away from the triggers, but still it can happen. So that's where we need to have our housing rules and policies very stringent, where we try to take care of the situations where if people relapse, what do we do? So we have Narcan, which is a life-saving drug, kind of an antidote, available at every level, easily accessible with the visuals marked so that we can give them the first aid, locations of the first aid kits, and that other visuals like evacuation points in the situation of emergency, emergency contacts on the bulletin board, and keeping the emergency contacts of our residents secured in a confidential location so that we can reach out to their contacts. So this is several things for the safety of our, and then the cameras, that's another one. We have the outdoor cameras so that we can have the visibility in the night. We can deter the strangers away from the house. We have the recording also on for those cameras. In case there's an incident, indoor cameras only in the common spaces, just in case there's something which is not the appropriate situation happening. So at least we can. And then we have the house manager, who is the living house manager, which becomes the first point of touch to take a timely action and do the escalation. So yeah, several things. I didn't mean to like go on and on, but since that was a big focus, so I thought I'd just share.
Absolutely, yeah. Sounds like a lot of policies and procedures as well, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, exactly.
I can see that. What advice would you give to other nonprofits when they're looking for a security provider?
Yeah, so one thing I would suggest is everybody, a nonprofit who is dealing with human lives, should take the safety of the residents as their number one priority. I know there is definitely a challenge when it comes to the expenses. We need to manage our expenses, but not at the cost of human lives. And then when you have to engage the partner who can help you design the right solution, you need to have someone reliable, someone who values the quality of service, who wants to work like a partner, who you can trust, where there's a lot of patience and a sense of collaboration. So, which is not, okay, you told us this, we did that. Oh, fire marshal told us this or didn't tell us this, we didn't do it. It's not like that. There are many gray areas when it comes to designing the fire alarm system. And that's where the expert becomes highly beneficial. And that was the main reason why we had Mammoth Security System working with us. And the reason why I was praising your team, because it's a fact, the evidence, who I witnessed myself, right? So yeah, so I think the reliability, expertise, the perseverance, collaboration, responsiveness, good communication, ability to work through the gray zones, all those features are needed in a partner to work along your side.
Thank you. So now, what does a typical day look like for your residents? How do you create a supportive and secure environment for them?
Yeah. So day in a life, and I should say a target day in a life for our residents should be very similar to your day and my day. That's a target, right? Because we are preparing them for independent living, which means that they should start with a purpose. It should be filled in with the meaningful activities. like routines, healthy lifestyle. They should be working on either searching your job or going to the jobs, preparing the resumes or refreshing their skills through the training, doing the community work, um, taking a sense of dignity in doing the household chores, right? The self-worth, and helping each other, exhibiting compassion. So all those things is something that we are aiming to see in a typical life of our resident. And when we see that happening with them, it gives us a confidence they are ready for the independent living, because the purpose is not the permanent housing. It's more to give them a runway to be ready for the independent housing.
That's good. That's definitely, we need more of that in the communities. How can individuals or businesses in the community get involved with Terra Homes?
Yeah, so there are plethora of opportunities how the individuals, community, or organizations can involve and support Tara Homes and its mission. So from the financial perspective, corporations, definitely donations is a way. Corporate gift matching program that they have for employees is another way to amplify their impact. And then corporate grants are there, which is another financial way of supporting our organization. And then several non-financial ways, which is like volunteering the hours. Either it's to help us with the house maintenance or volunteering the hours to get the professional expertise. For example, mentorship. You can mentor the employees, provide them the skills that are needed in the job market. Or it can also be helping them writing their resumes, for example. So there are several ways, like volunteering the hours or giving the professional services like legal advice to Tara Homes Foundation or accounting, therapy for our residents. So many non-financial ways as well.
And what's the website where they can find that information?
Yeah, so we have tarahomesfoundation.org. So that's where they can go online. And we are also on LinkedIn. We are also on Facebook. So they can also visit our business page. So it's like www.tarahomesfoundation.org.
Nice. And where do you see Terra Homes in 5 years? Where would you like to bring it?
So Tara Homes in 5 years. If you see the word homes in the name Tara Homes, that was very intentional, because we were debating when we were coming up with the name, the logo for the organization. Should it be Tara Home, Tara House, something like that? But we said, no, it will be Tara Homes. And Tara Homes is reflective of our vision, where we envision to have several homes, say 5 years, 10 years down the road, serving several diverse communities. People in recovery from substance use disorder is just a starting point, but many other communities who are dealing with housing insecurities, like domestic violence victims or justice involved, veterans. So we want Tara Homes to be where the need is, and be the best in class recovery home. When we talk about housing is just a part of the puzzle. It's a piece in a puzzle when it comes to solving huge problems like transformation. Transforming someone's life is not just one organization or one person's job, right? We need to combine hands to come out as a cohesive forces. And that's where the partnership and collaboration amongst the communities, the organizations, agencies, and even the other sober housing operators, we should not deem each other as a competition. So I want to make it more of a holistic approach towards transformation, where housing becomes a part of the solution, but then we have to integrate with other partners to make it more of a wholesome solution to help them connect back to the mainstream. So that's the vision part of like where I want to see Tara Homes working in partnership and collaboration with other forces around us who can help the target audience in reintegrating back to the society.
Nice. It's a great cause. I'm glad we were able to be involved in it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that we could have this partnership and some good friendships also, like I know. So I think definitely I wish that others can benefit from your services as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.